Some inventions stand in museums like quiet accusations, small, precise, and stubbornly out of place, as the camera glides across corroded gears and impossibly smooth stone. A question settles into the silence. How did this exist when it supposedly could not? According to the story we tell ourselves, ancient people were simple, limited, and bound by superstition, yet scattered across ruins are devices, materials, and systems that defy those assumptions, suggesting a past far more complex than we allow. From the moment these objects were uncovered, history itself seemed to recoil, unsure whether to absorb them or quietly look away. Ancient legends often describe gifted knowledge arriving suddenly, taught by sages, gods, or survivors of earlier ages. Archaeology gives these stories an uncomfortable weight, uncovering inventions that appear fully formed, with no visible trial and error. Think of precision instruments, advanced metallurgy, and machines designed with mathematical insight. These artifacts emerge from lost civilizations whose collapse erased the context needed to understand them, leaving us with results but no origins. Ancient maps amplify the mystery, showing navigation and surveying knowledge that implies sophisticated tools we've never found. This suggests that invention did not always move forward, but sometimes vanished entirely with those who understood it. Climate change plays a silent role in this disappearance. Abrupt floods, droughts, and cooling events shattered continuity, wiping out specialists and workshops before knowledge could be passed on. Archaeology reveals cities abandoned mid-production, tools left unfinished, and systems frozen in time. Meanwhile, forbidden texts hint that some inventions were deliberately hidden or restricted, guarded by elites who feared their misuse. When collapse came, secrecy ensured nothing remained but fragments. Later societies, struggling to survive, inherited artifacts they could use, but not recreate, mistaking remnants of lost sophistication for miracles or divine gifts. Modern technology deepens the paradox rather than resolving it. Analysis confirms precision without revealing the method, alloys whose recipes are lost, and stonework shaped beyond known tooling. When such inventions surface, they unsettle our linear view of history. So, political and academic pressure often reframes them as anomalies or curiosities, because accepting them implies that progress is fragile and reversible. It suggests that our modern superiority rests on continuity rather than inherent advancement. Truth institutions rarely welcome. Suppression completes the puzzle. Inventions that shouldn't exist challenge established narratives and funding priorities, so they are often isolated or left unexplored. Yet these objects endure, silent evidence that humanity once reached heights it could not sustain. As we concluded, the unsettling thought remains. Ancient inventions were not impossible, only forgotten. What we dismiss as mystery may actually be a warning, asking whether our own technologies will outlive our understanding, or become artifacts that future civilizations cannot explain either. The deeper we dig into the past, the more the question shifts. It's no longer about what these lost inventions are, but why they disappeared. Patterns are emerging, showing that ancient knowledge was often held by small, exclusive groups, guilds, priesthoods, or family lines. This system was incredibly efficient, but also dangerously fragile. Archaeology is uncovering workshops built for very specific conditions. Furnaces that relied on precise airflow, rooms with acoustics tuned for shape in stone, and devices calibrated to astronomical cycles. When war, climate change, or disaster struck, these delicate systems collapsed. Replication became impossible because the knowledge lived in practice, not in manuals. It was a living thing, passed down through action and experience. Ancient texts themselves seem to understand this, warning that invention without resilience is doomed to vanish the moment continuity is broken. The stories of lost civilizations amplify this lesson. Many appear to have reached a technological peak just before they collapsed, leaving behind artifacts far more advanced than anything their successors could create. We see hints of this in ancient maps that suggest a level of global contact we are only now beginning to appreciate. Ideas could spread rapidly along these routes, but when the seas rose or trade routes failed, innovation fragmented and died. Forbidden texts even describe attempts to preserve this knowledge, not as instructions, but as symbols, myths, and monuments. The elites who held this knowledge feared its misuse and loss of control. So, when their societies fell, later, cultures inherited the products of the temples. The artifacts but lacked the context, the philosophy, and the language to understand how they were made. This cemented the illusion of impossibility around what were, in fact, perfectly human achievements. Modern technology, instead of solving these mysteries, is actually showing us how deep they run. When scientists try to recreate ancient materials or technologies, success is inconsistent. We're realizing just how much they relied on lost ecological factors and unspoken, hands-on knowledge. This isn't about dramatic suppression like burning libraries, but something more subtle. Funding and attention flow toward discoveries that fit our neat, linear timeline of progress. Artifacts that disrupt this narrative are often labeled as outliers or ignored. Our education system reinforces this, teaching us to see ancient invention as primitive experimentation rather than the peak achievements they often were. Acknowledging that humanity has gone backward technologically challenges our faith in progress, and that faith legitimizes modern systems of authority. So, inventions that shouldn't exist are treated as curiosities, not as evidence of a forgotten history of human genius. As these threads weave together, a new picture of the past emerges, one where innovations surged and vanished, over and over again. The mystery isn't a lack of ability, but a story of choice, vulnerability, and control. It's a chilling reminder that invention alone guarantees nothing. Knowledge that isn't shared, that can't adapt, or that is too tightly controlled can disappear overnight. It leaves behind silent artifacts that ask us a difficult question. Why do we assume our own progress is permanent, when history shows, again and again, that it is anything but? Have you ever looked at an ancient artifact and thought, how did they make this? It feels almost impossible, like it shouldn't exist. But what if these anomalous inventions aren't anomalies at all? What if they're echoes of societies on the brink? Archaeology is uncovering a startling pattern. Bursts of incredible innovation don't happen when things are easy. They cluster right before a civilization collapses. When survival is on the line, creativity and precision become essential. Modern tech now allows us to map these creative surges against historical climate data. The results are chilling. These moments of genius align perfectly with periods of instability, resource scarcity, and mass migration. This reframes the entire story of progress. Invention isn't a steady climb. It's a frantic response to crisis. Our most advanced tools often emerge when we are at our most fragile. And when those societies fall, their greatest achievements are left behind, like orphans, stripped of their context and history. We're taught to see these inventions as simple stepping stones to our current greatness. But the truth is, many were peaks, not precursors. Even with our advanced labs and supercomputers, we often fail to replicate them. We're missing the secret ingredients, the cultural context, the environmental knowledge, and the generations of hands-on wisdom that have vanished. Many of these technologies were never designed for infinite scale. They prioritized harmony and balance over endless expansion. When later societies chose dominance and speed, these elegant systems were abandoned not because they failed, but because they didn't serve the new hunger for power and conquest. This narrative is inconvenient. Modern authority is built on the idea that we are the most advanced society in history. So, when artifacts surface that challenge this, their interpretation is carefully managed. They are framed as mysteries, not masterpieces. Evidence of ancient global trade or shared technologies is often isolated, preventing us from connecting the dots and seeing the bigger picture. In a strange way, the very technology that helps us uncover the past is also used to control its narrative, keeping the most disruptive ideas fragmented and buried. Perhaps the most unsettling thought is that many of these inventions weren't lost by accident. They were abandoned on purpose. They required restraint, cooperation, and long-term thinking qualities that societies under pressure often cast aside. As populations grew and climates shifted, simpler, more extractive technologies took over. They offered short-term survival but sacrificed long-term wisdom. It's a choice that sounds disturbingly familiar, isn't it? We're making the same trade-offs today, just with different names. Invention isn't destiny. It's a responsibility. These artifacts that shouldn't exist are powerful reminders. They prove that humanity has reached incredible heights before, only to choose paths that led away from them. If we continue to mistake acceleration for advancement, our own incredible technologies may one day sit behind glass, their purpose forgotten. And a future civilization will stand where we stand now, wondering how we knew so much, yet still allowed it all to disappear. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, consider subscribing for more deep dives into our forgotten past.